Good morning, everyone. Futures Brizio here, 9:15 a.m. on Tuesday, April 28th. Hope everybody's having a great morning so far. And as always, make sure you smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. Questions, comments, leave them down below. I'll make sure everything's working here. Does appear that way. All right, cool. We're going to jump right in here. First thing, let's take a look at Forex. So this is a look at my open Forex positions right now on my funded accounts. And we'll go over to closed positions. I did take pound New Zealand dollar. This was, when did I take this? Yesterday at 1:45. Well, actually, this is the broker time. So 13. Yeah, so it was around this time yesterday. 1246 yesterday, and I just closed it. $120 loss. We'll take a look at the pound Kiwi on the chart, and I also closed Aussie USD for a small loss. Again, we'll take a look at that one. CAD Swiss hit my take profit overnight. That hit 645. So that was like during the London session. So that was a nice little win. And Euro Swiss, I ended up closing that one yesterday or last evening when the market reopened at a little after, what was it, 5 or 6 o'clock for a small loss. And I did mention that in the video yesterday that I probably would be exiting that position. And I've now taken Euro Swiss off my list of assets. Okay, so those are the closed positions. But obviously overall positive, yeah, even with this pound Kiwi loss. And pound Kiwi is just one of those pairs that, if you call it right, it's a great pair to trade because it produces a lot of pips, but it also, if it moves against you, it can kill you really quick. So it's a net of $149. Not, hey, a green day is a green day as far as I'm concerned. So this is what we've got open right now. The two new trades I opened were Kiwi yen and Swiss yen this morning, both short. And right now the Kiwi yen is sitting at about break even. The Swiss yen's in a small profit, and we also have pound Canadian, which has been open since yesterday as well. I took this one last evening as well. That's in a little bit of drawdown. So we'll take a look at all these. Okay, so let's jump over to the chart, and let's take a look at pound New Zealand first. So here's the pound New Zealand, and we were short that pair. And so if we go and look at the CSI indicator, you can see what happened. The reason why I exited this because the New Zealand dollar took a pretty big tumble, and the British pound is basically flat. So I just don't like the looks of this with this big drop off on the New Zealand dollar. It kind of came back to some old resistance levels and then just fell right off. So I'll keep an eye on it if this ultimately straightens out. Let's say the New Zealand keeps going down and the pound starts to grab some strength, and we start seeing this thing move up. Then I might consider taking a long. But right now, I just decided to exit it because I was short, and this is not a good setup for a short with the blue currency dropping like straight down and really no strength, just pretty much flat on the lead currency, which in this case is the pound. So that's why I exited that one. And you can just see we're kind of range bound right now anyways. The other one was the pound USD. No, it was Aussie USD that I had closed. So originally I'd gone long right here, but again, the reason why I closed it is because again we have a little bit of weakening, basically flattening on the Aussie, but we had a pretty big recovery in the U.S. dollar rallying, so that's caused a lot of weakness to come back in here, and so we'll see what happens. Now, what we might end up seeing here, maybe, and I don't know, we'll see, is these two coming closer together and then diverging off, and see the dollar turn back down, see the Aussie turn back up, and then, we reestablish the long position. But as it stands right now, with it looking like this, that's not anything that I want to be in. So that's why I closed that one. And what was the other one here? Oh, Euro Swiss, I'm not even going to look at. CAD Swiss, we hit our TP, so we won't bother looking at that one. And let's look at the ones I took today. We'll look at Kiwi yen, Swiss yen, pound CAD. So Swiss yen, here's Swiss yen, and this is why I took it. It's a little bit of a late entry, but we did have a little pullback here. So you can see the divergence happened on this big red candle right here on the four. And again, we're on the 4-hour chart with all these. Okay, and then we had this pullback here, and then I entered basically on this candle, which wasn't very far from this original big bearish candle, so I felt pretty confident taking it. And we have broken structure right here on this bearish candle, and so that's why I took that one. The New Zealand yen, I'm counting on some maybe continued weakness in the New Zealand, which there's that weakness we saw on the pound Kiwi, on the pound New Zealand. In this case, since the New Zealand's the lead currency, that's the orange line. And the yen is looking like it's trying to go higher. If this yen does not, grab some momentum and go higher, this trade probably is not going to work out. And you can see we are still basically bucking the trend because we've got higher highs and higher lows going here. Although we do have equal highs, this is kind of a double top sitting up here. So we'll see if that plays out. But this right now is still technically a counter trend trade. I'm sure we're going to run into some support when we come down and maybe hit this trend line that I just put in here. Okay, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see a little bounce. So we'll see what happens. If we continue to see weakness in the New Zealand, if this continues to head down, and this yen can at least stay neutral and hopefully go up a little bit, then it'll be a good trade. If not, then this one will be on a pretty short leash too. But this is one of those ones that's basically a counter trend trade because, again, at least here over the last couple of weeks or so, this has been trending higher and kind of respecting this trend line right here. But at the same time, like I said, we do have a double top. If we go out to the daily chart, we basically have like more than a quadruple top here. If you look to the left, we've got where price is sitting now. We've got this bounce right here. We did have a little breakthrough way back here in February, but even that pulled back down, and again came back up. So we're back up to an area that has been continuously rejected, somewhere around this 94 to 94.50 area. That's where we're sitting now. So even if we just get a short-term push back down here, I'd love to see it break this trend line and at least come back down to like these lows around the 92 area. I'd be happy with that. So, but we'll keep an eye on it. It's basically, like I said, it's still technically a counter trend trade. So we'll see what happens. Like I said, it probably will go a little bit lower. Maybe it'll tag this trend line, and then we'll have to see, if we get a real strong bullish bounce off of there. In which case, I may just, exit out of it. It's not an A plus trade, that's for sure, because it's not in the direction of the trend. And as I've said, you're still better off taking these in the direction of the trend. I've also said that, taking these as counter trend trades based on the CSI indicator is fine. You just got to be realistic with how far you think it's going to go until, if and when that trend actually breaks. And to me, at a minimum, we would have to, kind of definitively break this low right here. It's not really so much about the trend line. It's about market structure. So this was the last swing low that led back up to this at least equal high right here. I'd want to see price definitively smash this level, which obviously would break the trend line too. But any wick through this trend line and then recovery back above it would be probably not a good sign for a short. So like I said, we'll see what happens when it gets there. So as I mentioned yesterday, I did end up taking off some pairs off my list. I took the the Euro Swiss, Aussie Swiss, the Kiwi Swiss off the list. I did mention that I was probably going to take CAD Swiss off the list once I was out of that trade, and I did hit my TP today on this long, as I showed you a minute ago. And so I may very well, pull the CAD Swiss because you can see this thing can go through very long periods of kind of choppy price action where it doesn't really trend very well. It's hard to take something like that off the list after you just had a nice win, but it's not really a very fun pair to trade. And it's not like I don't have all the Canadian pairs on my board here. I mean, I got the pound CAD, the dollar CAD, euro CAD, CAD yen. So, I mean, I've got 4 other Canadian dollar pairs here that I could trade. And the CAD yen is probably a better mover once it does trend than the CAD Swiss. So I probably am going to take CAD Swiss off the board and just roll with these other ones. You can see down at the bottom here, I've got these two, which I have not been coded for my indicator yet, so I'm not looking at them really. This is the euro versus the Norwegian krona, and this is the euro versus the Swedish krona. Now, these are exotic currency pairs. There's not a heck of a lot of volume in them, but they can produce some nice trends. So, not necessarily looking at the indicator right now, but just if we just look at the, we'll just push this up here. This can this is the daily chart. This can produce some pretty long trends here. Okay, they've been kind of, we've got trends like this. And so they're just ones I may experiment with just to, just to see if these are worth adding to the list. I haven't decided yet because they do go through some really nice trends like this. But then again, they can start getting into kind of choppy price action too. This is the daily chart. And if you look at the 4 hour, something like this, they can get into these big swings like this. Where it can be a little choppy. The indicator is having a hard time calculating it because it hasn't been really coded yet, so I don't trust this. I'm not really looking at this right now. I've reached out to the developer and having asked him to update it with the NOK and the SEK, code that into the list. And so we'll see after that. I'm not saying I'm going to hold on to these or not. But they're ones I'm at least looking at to throw a couple of options up there. Maybe not both of them because they do kind of move similar. Although I think the NOK is a little bit better in terms of just, trending. I also had looked at like Aussie CAD, New Zealand CAD. Those are the only other two kind of major currency crosses. Well, they're minor pairs, but with major currency crosses. And I don't like either one of those. They're kind of like the Aussie Swiss and the Kiwi Swiss. They produce lots of wicks, lots of range bound markets, just not heavily traded. I think they're pretty low volume. So those were 2 other ones I was looking at, but I decided to pass on those. And like I said, whether I keep these 2 or not, I'm not sure. If I don't, then this will probably be the list I go with, even if I take the CAD Swiss off. That would bring me down to 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 pairs to look at. That's more than enough. You get up into that 20 plus range. That's more than enough to look at and more than enough opportunity. So I'm not looking to stress myself out by giving myself more pairs to look at. But I always like to play around and just see, what other pairs might fit well with the currency strength indicator. All right. So so that's kind of a brief update. Like I said, I'm not going to go through every pair here right now. Those are the ones that I kind of felt were worth showing and talking about. Some other ones I had on my watch list that I put on my watch list last night, but I haven't traded. This is the like I said, we already talked about Aussie New Zealand, Aussie USD. So here's the New Zealand US dollar, and again showing that weakness in the New Zealand dollar going down. and with the dollar strengthening and the Kiwi weakening, we'll see how long this if this holds. It's not a trade that I took. I decided to take the New Zealand yen instead. I don't know. That may turn out not to be the best choice. Maybe this one will. It's kind of range bound right now. If we go to the daily chart, we're just kind of sitting inside of this range. We have not been able to break through this, 59.20 level, 59.20 level in here. Really, I guess 59 if we take the wicks out. We have not been able to break through that level. We've had what, one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. We've had at least eight full days, so almost a couple of weeks where price has not been able to smash through this area. And it keeps getting rejected off of there. So we did have this sell that hit. This sell actually hit uh, early this morning while I was still in bed. London session, we had this bearish crossover. So we'll see. Again, technically still in an uptrend with this swing low right here. Okay. But more sideways than I would say up. So we'll see if this continues to move down. This is a bearish signal. Well, I said I didn't take it mainly because I wasn't on the chart at this time. Again, if you look where the cursor, that was 5 o'clock this morning. When that one kicked in, I was not on the charts then. It's still a valid trade now, but I think it's very similar to the Kiwi yen. And basically if the Kiwi continues to weaken, that trade should play out. And so I'm probably not gonna take this one. All right. So we'll just look at a couple of other random things. There's like Euro Canadian, nothing there. Euro dollar. I don't know the last time I traded the Euro dollar. You can see we have them both moving up. So that's a no trade. Somebody mentioned dollar yen being completely range bound, and it is. Look at how long dollar yen's been ranging. I mean, this is like ugly. I mean, if you like trading ranges, I guess this is great, but I hate ranges. I hate seeing price action like this. This is, to me, is just like, I don't know. But again, a lot of people like trading it where they hits the bottom of the range, they buy it, hits the top of the range, they sell it. I get it. I just don't like it. So if it works for you, then cool. But you can see the CSI indicator is a no trade. They're both heading up. And so that to me, that's a no trade where both of them are strengthening. And of course, that's causing this sideways action. But I do like the yen strengthening. That will help my New Zealand yen trade. So hopefully that keeps up. And if we look at the yen futures, which I will in a second, then you can see, we've been forming a very, very long bottom on the yen futures. So we'll see if the Bank of Japan's going to let it go higher. I'm getting these futures alerts now. So we'll go over to futures for a second, and we'll take a look here. Again, this is the 4-hour chart. Here's the Canadian dollar. We did have some weakening in the Canadian dollar, and so this is heading down. That's actually not a bad trade. Here's the yen, and you can see this is why the yen has been so problematic. You can just see this massive sideways price action. Every time it tries to form a bottom and go higher, it just doesn't go anywhere, And so it's trying to do that again and hit these lows again, trying to go higher. It's just it's not great. So certainly there's no trade there in futures. We had a nice short sell here on the Swiss franc. Again, this goes back to yesterday. I did not trade any futures yesterday, as I mentioned. That's why I didn't talk about it yesterday. We do have this British pound sell signal, but you can see we're kind of sitting at support right now. So I'm not going to sell it from here. I do have an alert. If this manages to go down and smash out this low, then that probably would be a good trade. But given that it looks like it's more range bound right now, I'm a little hesitant to sell it from here, even with that signal. It's a bit of a late signal. Well, I mean, it actually gave you the signal on this candle, but you can see it's certainly not at a spot where I'm going to trade it now. There's the New Zealand dollar weakness. Again, these are futures, but they go in pretty much in line with the spot Forex. that's a good sell signal right there. Again, this happened during the overnight last night. And the Australian dollar is pretty neutral. And then again, the Euro futures and pound futures, as I said, are always very, very closely correlated. And you can see they're doing the exact same thing. We had the sell signal, back here, but that now we've kind of hit support. You can see this area has hit support many times. So I would prefer to see this thing, if it's going to, rally back higher, that's fine. But we don't have a buy signal anyways. I'm more interested to see if it can go lower. You can see I have a second alert set below the support. So if it can roll over, if it come down and hit this area again, it probably will break through. Everybody's going to say, well, you got that line sitting right at support. But the thing is, it's already been there. You see this big wick right here, right? It's already been here. So if it comes back down again, and this is a 4-hour chart, it's going to have to really work to get down there again. If it does come down here again, it's probably going to break through because it's going to be a lot of bearish momentum to push it back towards that level again and not force it higher. So let it bounce, and then if it rolls over again and comes down, you probably see this will be more of if I see more of an engulfing candle that breaks through this alert level, then that probably would be a short I would take. But there is a signal, but I'm not going to sell it now because I missed the initial entry that happened when I wasn't on the chart. And so let's see what happens now. If this holds or we just get a bounce and a rollover, then that would be a re-entry signal. But it's nothing I'm going to do right now. So we'll take a quick look at the grain market. Oh, I wanted to show you this indicator here. So this is a momentum indicator oscillator. I mean, think of it kind of like any other oscillator. It's called the RTI. I can move myself out of the way here. RTI, it's a free indicator available on TradingView. I didn't change any of the settings. The only thing I changed was the color of this line. I changed it because it was another shade of blue like this, and it was too hard to see it. So I changed it to yellow. That's literally the only difference on this, on the settings here. I did not change any of the settings. Everything else here is default. So it's RTI. Again, it's an oscillator, guys. There's nothing magical about it, but it's pretty cool. I was back testing it a little bit against the stochastic RSI, which I'm a big fan of in the grain markets, and so that's where I might consider using this on, say, a 1 to 4 hour chart. Basically, it's kind of like a overbought, oversold, oscillator crossover type thing. Like right here, right, we had the yellow line, which is the RTI line, crossing out of overbought, and then crossing through this blue line, which is called, okay, that's the moving average relative trend index. Okay, so crosses through here, and you can see you get a nice sell signal here to the downside. And then we get this one crossing back through it to the upside. When you get these red down here, it just indicates, in this case, strong bearish momentum. I don't really care about that. And then up here, when it's green, the green filling just means it's strong bullish momentum. I'm basically just, looking for these momentum crossovers here. I've back tested it on the 1 hour and the 4 hour chart. It's not bad. So RTI, if you're interested in looking at a different oscillator, this is pretty good. Like I said, I didn't change any of the settings. It's completely default. Again, I wouldn't use it on Forex or anything. I like my CSI indicator, but on these grain markets, it's not a bad indicator. Although using it, I didn't really see any opportunities to enter anything right now. Now, if we look at, like, we're on the 1 hour chart of corn. If we zoom into the right edge of the chart, you can see that the indicator has crossed, the yellow line now has crossed below this blue line. Might be a little hard to see right here. Okay. But, it's still in this kind of in this strong, I don't even want to call it overbought, but in this strong bullish area. So I'm not going to sell it because you can see it's done that before, and that's basically just our pullbacks in the market. So I'd want to see this, kind of break below the 80 line. So there's really no trade there. Um, Same thing here in soybeans. We're not inside, we're not above the 80 line, which is the overbought. We're kind of in between here. But you can see that the indicator is riding, the moving average index is riding underneath the RTI line. This, potentially could be a sell if we get this to break lower here. Uh, and I do have this alert set right here. I'm going to move this down just a little bit. So, this could be a sell signal right here. If, we can get this to break lower. This is one on soybean meal, but again, yes, this is a really bearish candle, but the indicator hasn't, really given a signal yet. Let's see at if we can get this line to really close well below. When this candle closes in 20 minutes, I'm back on the 1 hour chart of soybean meal. You can see we did have a bearish crossover. We do have a really bearish candle here. If this continues and closes near the lows, this might be, a short to take. And then we have this one on soybean oil. Again, break below. This has been pretty choppy. We've had a lot of these signals and price hasn't gone anywhere. So I'm probably ignoring that one. And then we had basically a bullish crossover, continuation of the upside on cattle. Which was right here. This was actually yesterday, so I'm just showing you old signals. But basically, that's what you're looking for. Preferably, you want to see them coming either out of the minus 20, out of the 20 area, which is the quote oversold, or coming down out of the above 80 area, which is the quote overbought. But again, guys, you don't want to take those in a just alone. You want to look at the price action and make sure it fits. You could take counter trend trades off of this too. So again, this is just another oscillator. It's it's not bad. The stochastic RSI is going to give you better entries, re-entries in the middle of a move. So let's say you didn't get in at the beginning of a move, like say down here. The stochastic RSI will give you maybe re-entry points like potentially like right here, where this indicator is not. So this one's going to only really allow you to catch potentially larger turns, whether they're after large corrections or reversals, whereas the stochastic RSI will also give you entries on smaller corrections because it's a little bit more sensitive. But then again, it can produce more false signals too. So that's kind of the trade-off. This indicator is better for picking up on large corrections that are ending and going back in the direction of the trend, or on reversal signals. Okay. But in those two respects, it actually works really well. And if you read it right and you trust the indicator, it actually can get you some pretty early entries and some pretty low risk to reward trades. Okay, so that's the RTI. It's just something I'm playing around with for these grain trades in particular. And I probably could use it for futures, for the currency futures, although I can use my CSI indicator for that too, because this is coded for the currency futures too, against the DXY. This is coded against the DXY, which is the blue line always on all of these currency futures. This blue line is going to be the same on all of them because this is the DXY. So, all right. So, yes, I wanted to point that one out and just talk about the RTI, and something I'm playing around with. I'll let you know if I take any trades based off of it. This corn could potentially be one. This soybean, potential continuation of this short signal right here. We did have this move down. We had a lower high put in. Looks like we're trying to go lower now. So those are the two, and maybe even soybean meal. So those three maybe are potentials to look at for trades. So, yeah. So that's it, guys. Just wanted to give you an update on my Forex trades, open positions, and closed positions. Still going pretty well. Um, and Yeah, so we're going to just keep on keeping on, and we'll see how it goes. And I might be back with another update later, especially if I take any trades here. We'll see how they go, and we'll just go from there. So make sure you smash the like button on the way out. Subscribe to the channel. Any questions, comments, leave them down below, including on the CSI indicator, which I've always talked about. It's my favorite indicator to trade Forex with, and I can use it on currency futures too. So but it's not useful for the grain markets because it has nothing to do with grains. So it's a currency indicator. So all right, so that's why I'm playing around with this RTI. So all right, have a great rest of your morning, and we'll talk soon. Thanks, guys.